The government unveiled its food strategy for the next 20 years at the Oxford Farming Conference. The Secretary of State for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, Hilary Benn, has urged farmers to increase production, but in a sustainable manner. But his ideas don't go far enough, according to a fringe event also being held in the city. Small-scale farmers want radical changes to the way farming is practised in the UK. Jeremy Stern has more.
In many ways, this is how farming used to be. One man, a small herd and a plot of land. But Matt Dale doesn't see his dairy business in North Aston as a throwback to the past. He believes this kind of local farming should be the future.
It's better for the environment and for the end consumer, who knows exactly where their food is coming from. So they can come here, see the cows, see exactly how their food is produced.
In Oxford today, this kind of food production was on the agenda at the first Oxford Fringe Farming Conference. David Blake, a market gardener from Worton, believes small-scale farmers are in the best position to champion local food.
There are plenty of varieties of meats, plenty of varieties of fowl, plenty of varieties of vegetable and fruit. The taste, we have a taste, and that's one of the God-given things we have.
At this shop in North Oxford, all of the fruit and vegetables were hand-picked this morning. Now, the owners say it helps give them that special quality, but it comes at a cost. Carrots are less than half the price at the supermarket just up the road. So would you be willing to pay more for local food?
I definitely would. I think it's really important to support your local community.
There's a lot more money to buy local food, and I don't really mind where it's from, as long as it's good quality.
Yeah, one tends to do what's more convenient rather than more ethical.
Back in North Aston, Matt says his profits have grown over the past few years. For that to continue, he's called on the government to offer better incentives for small businesses like his and for more consumers to give local food and drink a try. Jeremy Stern, BBC Oxford News.
Well, the Fringe Conference was organised by the Campaign for Real Farming. Its founder, Colin Tudge, is with us. He's from Oxford. He joins us in the studio. Colin, how can smaller farms be the key to greater production?
Well, the small farm is not an end in itself, but the point is if we are serious about feeding 9 billion people in a few years' time, we have to design agriculture specifically for that purpose, in other words, specifically for producing good food for everybody. If you do that, you finish up with very complicated systems of farming. That requires lots of farmers. That leads you inexorably to the idea of the small, labour-intensive farm.
So are you at odds with the government then?
Well, I would say totally at odds, because if they have a system which is designed primarily to make money, that is exactly what it's about. A system that's designed to make money is quite opposite in virtually every respect from one that is designed to produce food. And if you want a simple answer to why the world's food supply is in such a mess, it's because it's not designed for that purpose.
So you're talking about massive changes to our lifestyle?
Massive changes to the way farming is done, less change to one's lifestyle than you might suppose, because actually the great farming of the kind that really could feed us is also the basis of great cooking. So if we only sort of, as it were, relearn to cook basically in traditional ways, we could be fine.
Wouldn't we be looking at more vegetarianism, for example?
Not really. We'd be looking at more plants in the diet, but that doesn't mean vegetarianism. And if you look at all the great cuisines, they are primarily plant-based, using the meat as a garnish or as a stock or as an occasional feast, just not as the centrepiece of every meal.
Do you see this ever really happening? I know you're putting it forward as a good idea, but will it ever really take off?
It certainly could, because one of the points about today's Real Farming Conference was how many initiatives there are that are moving in that direction at all levels. The government's not going to do it, the government's hopeless, but it could at least get out of the way, and it could, for example, give us a helping hand, give us some of the money that we pay them, you know, at the moment they squander. So I can see it happening. It's a long shot. But if we don't get it, if we don't go around the path we're talking about, I think we've actually had our chips. So the stakes are very high.
Two food analogies there in one sentence. Thank you very much indeed.